it right away because I didn't want to be jerked around again, you know. And they said the same thing, and they said, we're trying to help the people there on Earth. We're trying to save their lives. And I had no idea what they were talking about. These people were already dead. And then they said Planet X is coming in. They said a lot of things. I'd say about half of which I could hear, because it was very, very soft. But they talked to me about how they tried to tell me about these reptilian aliens, that they were very vicious. They told me a lot of different things that over the period, it was about a 2-week period that I could hear them. After that, they told me that they said we lost the internet, which meant they lost their ability to communicate on my computer. Ever since then, I still get messages, but it's always in a reversal with somebody else speaking. It's not the direct conversations that I had for a while.
And why is it that you suspect that the reptilians have such easy access and the Pleiadians have such a difficult time?
They own this world inside of their net. We're in a lockdown. It's a force field.
The Pleiadians also miscalculated the arrival of Planet X.
Yes, they did.
Why would that happen?
Because they're not gods. They live in another they live in a whole other system. Timing is always iffy, and you've got a big planet like Planet X, speeds up, slows down. They thought it was coming through last spring, right around this time. They told me we miscalculated, and they apologized. But so yeah, they were wrong. I mean, they're not God.
Now later on, after this, Roger came to visit you at your home. And how did Francis become involved with Roger? And what happened in September of 2004 that changed the dynamics of everything?
Francis was the last. Francis wouldn't go out on the transport. He was the last holdout of the people right around here. He didn't want to leave me. He just figured. He always said, "When you die, I want you. You come and get me and take me to heaven with you." That was his big thing. But I wanted him to go on the transport, but he said no. And then when Roger first showed up, the guest house where he was staying that night was filled with reptilian aliens who were just doing stuff to him. And on the voice-activated recorder, Francis was in the house, and he was terrified. And he said, "This house, I'm hiding in the bathroom. This house is filled with aliens." They only called them aliens on the other side. He said, "And it's a monster plot." I'll never forget that, because the people on the other side really are almost as clueless as we are. Not quite, but they don't really have a lot of information either about what's going on.
Now, what happened in September of 2004 that changed all the dynamics?
That's when that's when Roger showed up. The Pleiadians. The Pleiadians had been taking people out. This one called Vinny, but that was actually a little later. That was in New Year's. The transport was still running, but the Pleiadians were coming in. The reptilians were coming in. They were cloning them by the thousands and thousands. As a matter of fact, one of them told me that they were getting ready to invade New York.
So reptilians cloning reptilians.
Right. Yes. And the ones that they clone are all, I think they're virtually all male. They told me they have an extra Y chromosome, which makes them much more aggressive. They were getting ready to invade New York, and I thought, when I heard that there was going to be another event, kind of like maybe 9/11, but it was an interdimensional invasion. In other words, they were there to grab people who died.
In New York City?
Yeah.
The astral version of New York City?
Right.
So is the astral realm almost a mirror image of what's here?
It's similar, but I don't, like Francis's, when he moved into the little house, when the whole group moved down, he made comment about the washing machine being old. And I said, well, that washing machine is brand new. And he said, oh, well, it doesn't work like that. So it's similar, but it's not exact. There's differences. I don't know exactly how that works.
And you said all your prayers and efforts couldn't stop Roger from being attacked by these reptilians every night. And then the reptilians began talking directly with you. What were the nature of those conversations?
Mostly threats, mostly threatening me. They either they wanted to rape me or kill me. That was pretty much the extent of it. It was interesting. They didn't catch on to reverse speaking for about 2 weeks. So whenever I would put on my recorder, there'd be one of them, and he'd be saying something to me. Now they use regular old American names, and one of them would say, I'd say, well, who am I speaking to? And he'd say, I'm an alien. My name is Ralph. And then I would turn it around real quick, and he goes, I'm lying. My name is really John. And I would say back into the recorder, you're not Ralph. Your name is John. And they go, oh my God, how did she know that? This woman they called me a seer. They called me a witch. They called me Ave Sophia, one of them said. They didn't know I was reversing. They'd never heard of this. That's why I'm saying it's new. And finally, somebody figured out, because they're watching, they said, she's doing something with the recordings. That's how she knows what we're thinking. And then they had to be very careful, because as soon as they would say something, which they always talk, I could turn it around and figure out what they were really thinking. So I had hundreds of them here, literally. They told me they were surrounding me, and we're going to, next time you go to the dentist, we're going to put a virus in your gum. We're going to insert cancer into your womb. We're going to rape you. We're going to, it was on and on. And they said, and now watch, she's going to sing for Jesus. And I said, I only talk to the one. I serve the one. And as soon as I said that, it was everything changed.
So they were trying to trick you into Jesus worship.
Well, because Jesus...
Because they controlled that whole ideology.
That's right.
The reptilians pretended to be Pleiadians talking to you.
All the time.
But never humans.
No. Oh, no. They think human. They look down on humans. They think they're just retarded cattle. But they do. They hate the Pleiadians, but they have amazing respect for the Pleiadians.
So what did you learn from talking with the reptilians? What were the key lessons or ideas that you came away with?
They're miserable. They're very unhappy. They don't like their lives. They're very controlled. They have hierarchies. They have to do what they're ordered. If they don't go along with the program, they're annihilated. They usually have their heads cut off. They have some regular births. Most of them now are clones. They one said, I'm 2 years old, but he was old enough to be doing, they're clones, so that they come from Orion, and they want to go back to Orion because they know it's coming up, but they don't want to stay here. They know they're going to be killed, and they're very angry at the big shots going out on the big ship, very angry that they've been left behind. They're just considered peons.
And who was Vinny?
Well, Vinny was one of the first reptilians that I actually talked to, and I still didn't understand the extent of what they were doing on the other side. And he would talk to me, and I was just kind of excited about being able to talk to extraterrestrials. I thought, wow, he did this UFO show. We always want to talk to an alien. And he was fairly young. His father was a general. He did have a natural birth. He was in the military, and that in their side. He was the one who told me that there was going to be an invasion, and that the new ones coming were very vicious. He could actually be fairly amenable. I mean, he said to me, when this war is over, I'll stand by your side. We'll stand side by side. And I didn't even know what war he was talking about at the time. I was really not tuned in. And then at one point, on New Year's Eve, the Pleiadians came through and said, the transport has been hijacked. An alien, and he's got all the people. And I was like, and it was Vinny. And he was saying, well, we told them that, the Pleiadians were going to, that we were Pleiadians. We convinced them. And they trusted you. And see, this is what happens when they trust you. And he said, we're going to keep this ship now. This was the first time I got.